Well, here we are back in the shop again. Yeah, we got some race cars being built. Anyway, it's like in the 20s. I think it was like 28 degrees. We're still here. So, obviously we're gonna replace a couple little fasteners on the lights. I think I'm gonna replace those faded lenses there and pull the bulbs and stuff and get them ready for a little conversion action. And then I'm gonna dig in, I think today, to the park neutral switch, which is down on the side of the transmission. I think on the 4L60 and the 4L80, it's on the driver's side. And I'm gonna crawl under there and see how we're gonna integrate that into the ignition switch and everything. That purple wire there goes to the starter. That's my start wire. It also goes to a relay. So we'll also have a relay to start the starter, because it'll run through its various switches and then down to the relay. The relay will run a nice, good, hot amount of power down to the starter. So rather than have the power run through all those switches, we're just gonna put a relay up top. So that was one of the other relays we're gonna have. We're probably not gonna have one for the headlights since they inherently draw less power. We're gonna test that, and I'll know exactly how many amps the old headlights pull versus the new lights, and I'll video that, and let's get it on, because it ain't getting any warmer out here. I can tell you that much. We gotta get the fire going. What you gotta do is turn down the memodinkles and turn up the lernicules. Okay, so pipe threads are usually what we'd in like this radiator here. We got pipe thread here, and I believe even these transmission fittings are tapered pipe thread. Yeah. So, you know, if I see they're gunked up, I just run a tap through them. And pipe threads here, if we could look at this guy, it's got a taper to it from left to right, and that's just how the taper is on these fittings. You can see that taper. That's how these are made. So you put a little sealant on them and you screw them in, and they're good. Like a regular bolt, which, like this, which is very close, it's just not tapered though. It almost matches like pitch wise. Pitch is the number of threads per inch, but as you can see, that one's straight, and like these are tapered. So plumbing fittings are usually tapered, you know, your regular standard screws, not tapered. So if you're new to plumbing, or if you're new to working on rigs, a lot of the plumbing fittings is borrowed from regular plumbing, or maybe plumbing was borrowed from the automotive folks. But anyway, there's a tapered fitting. You just put a little Teflon tape on there, or I like to use pipe dope. And yeah, and I just, you know, if it's dirty, you just run a tap down there with a little something on there to keep it lubed up. Just clean them up. Usually you don't need much just to clean them up, and then your fitting will pull tight, you know. So this radiator, we're just gonna put this fitting in for the steam fitting. I ordered the fitting that went in the hose. It was way undersized from eBay. I'm just gonna not use it. Rather than hold this up, I'm just gonna plumb that steam line into here. I wish it was higher up, but it's not. So anyway, it should work. Should help get the air out, I hope. So yeah. Or somebody will tell me that there's pressure on both sides, but you know, you give it a little bit of throttle. If there's a differential, the air will go, you know, one way or the other. So that should be good. I got some starter wires done on these fans. These are going to be real short grounds, so they don't need to be 10 gauge, you know, it'll be just fine. And then our power wires. And what I was looking at with the original LS swap harness that they had was, one of these is the fuel pump and one of these is the coils and injectors, as far as these relays. But now we're going to add a relay for the headlights, possibly, and we're going to put in a relay for each fan. So it'll have fan 1, fan 2. So already we're going to have 3 more relays. So that's why I picked up another box that has a couple more relays. You can certainly just keep snapping these things together. You know, these are nice, quick and dirty, but we're even going to use relays that have diodes in them or resistors. So when the high draw stuff shuts off, like a fan or a horn or whatever, it doesn't backfeed the system with a bunch of high voltage. So I was grabbing a piece of wood and I was like, oh, hey, hold, what the heck? It was so cold it froze all this wood together. Yeah, nice and chilly here. It's sunny, but cold. Okay, so I was going to wire these lights in and I wasn't quite sure what was going on, because if you try to put power just to the yellow light or this yellow tab, the extra tab, like I had to source these out, so this is actually ground, brights, and regular light. Brights there. I think I can do it. Bright light coming in. All of them, yeah. And then regulars, the top 3. And then if you want the red light, you hook up just one of the wires, whichever one turns the red light on. But in order for the yellow one to come on, it's got to already have power by the red light. Sorry about that. And then it can blink. And then once the blinker shuts off for a period of time, say it's like blinking like this, and then the blinkers shut off, the daytime running light will come back on. So it's like you got all of it. All right. Before I goof the damn light up. Yeah. So, cool light. If you get one of these, that's the deal. You got to have your daytime running light powered up first, whatever one that is, in this style of light, whatever you want to call it. And then the turn signal will activate after it receives voltage, but the running light has to have voltage first. So, I don't know. Maybe that'll help somebody. Again, it's nice to have my little battery here so I can just hook this up and test it. So in order to get this to go in the light bucket, I had to trim it out to get it to fit, otherwise it doesn't go down far enough. Now it'll go far enough, those tabs line up, and it sits right against this ring here, this headlight bucket. And basically it was, I'll show you. Let me take this light out, I don't want to set it on the lens. If we take this guy, it's roughly where it bulged out at. Like there's 2 levels here, and I don't know if it went on here one way or the other. So like it was just like this extra whatever it is taken off and then just made flat to fit. Okay, so we did what we could. Unfortunately, the little plastic tab that fits, it holds the headlight adjustment screw. They're usually pretty brittle on old rigs. It's just a little piece of plastic, so I'm just going to get another one before I continue with the headlights. So clean up the screws. and get them adjusted. I didn't anticipate having to cut the back of those buckets out so much. And I noticed putting it in that this one here is connects to the truck different than the other side. I'm not familiar with C10, so I'm gonna take a minute and look at that also while I'm waiting for those parts to show up. Probably only take a couple days anyway. I'm not in a real rush. So, and I'm gonna clean up the headlight like reflectors around it. Get those, they got some paint on them. And we'll get those just cleaned up. That way the lights are solid. I'm gonna take a look at these lights, and I think I might set them up for like LED inserts, just so everything will be nice and bright. And so I'm not sure those are even turn signals. They may just be parking lights. We'll hook it up and check the operation, how it's set up in the truck. So yeah, that's about it for the front lights. We got the radiator sorted out. It's got all the right plugs. It's got all the right fittings. All right, so I had to put this bar on here to activate the spring or the hood hinge, so I could see where I was at here. Make sure we got plenty of clearance. Be careful. Them windows, they old school.